Have you ever wanted to become a real estate investor, but you feel like that is something that is completely out of your reach? Does it feel like only really lucky people or people who have a ton of money are able to become real estate investors? My husband and I felt the exact same way. We had talked about owning a rental property for several years, but it wasn't until we actually educated ourselves, made a plan, and took a leap of faith that it actually happened for us. And now we have a successful short-term rental property that consistently gets awarded the Airbnb Superhost status, not to mention the fact that this property alone grossed us $30,000 in the first year of operation. If investing in real estate is something that you want to learn more about, then get ready, because I'm about to tell you the story of how my husband and I became real estate investors. We're living proof that you don't have to have a ton of money or just be a super lucky person to be able to make this dream a reality. And trust me, if we can do it, you can do it. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm a former teacher turned realtor who educates buyers, sellers, and investors on all things real estate. My husband has been in sales since he was 16, and we have been married for 11 years. Throughout our marriage, we've had many conversations about owning a short-term rental property. It was just never really something that we thought was actually possible for us. We both had decent paying jobs and we lived a comfortable lifestyle, but we never really had a ton of extra money that we could just set aside to be able to purchase another property. To be honest, it wasn't until I left education and got into real estate that this whole new world opened up to me. Only then was I really able to start to connect the dots on how people were able to come up with creative ways to finance their investment properties. Once I got more comfortable in my career change, we started to have the conversation again about owning our own short-term rental property. We sat down and had lunch with my former team leader, Kevin, who used to be in the business of buying and flipping homes, and he gave us the rundown on real estate investment 101. He also told us to go ahead and get in touch with a lender who could help us get a better understanding of our interest rate, our down payment, and our budget. So from there, we met with Chad Prio with Hancock Mortgage, and he took a lot of time to sit down with us and explain the differences between buying an investment property versus buying a primary residence. We learned that as investors, we would have a higher than market interest rate, and we would also need to put more money down. When you buy a primary residence, typically if you're doing FHA or conventional, you're putting somewhere between 3.5% to 5% down. But as an investor, you're required to put a lot more down. So we were looking at 20 to 25% down. Now, we did live a comfortable lifestyle, but we did not have 40 to 50 grand just lying around. So being creative, Chad introduced the idea of a HELOC, or a home equity line of credit. This would be a line of credit on our primary residence that would allow us to use some of the equity that we've built up in our home to finance our investment property. He gave me the information to somebody who specializes in HELOCs, and we got the process going. Now, like I said earlier, there are a ton of different creative financing options out there, but a HELOC is what made the most sense to us in our financial situation. So we were approved to take up to $37,000 of our home equity out of our HELOC, and we were also approved for a $200,000 sales price on our investment property. So I'm a realtor in Houston, Texas, and I can tell you that we don't really have many properties that are under the $300,000 price point, let alone a $200,000 price point. So we would need to be really strategic about our purchase. So there were a few things that we knew. Number one, we needed to find a home that was less than $200,000 and was move-in ready. We literally had no extra money to make repairs of any kind, so it was really important to us to find a move-in ready home that we could literally just start renting out and start making money. Number two was that we knew that we wanted to self-manage the property, so we really wanted it to be no more than 2 hours away from our home. And number three is that we needed some money left over so that we could furnish the property. We explored a lot of different areas around us and actually did find several places that had homes that were less than $200,000, but ultimately we decided to look in Freeport, which is only an hour and a half away from our home. Freeport seemed like the perfect fit for what we were looking for because that area very much resembled our own lives. My husband is an avid fisherman, and anytime I go with him, I want to make sure that I am staying in a comfortable, female-approved, clean home and not some weird man cave where I have to lay in bed at night thinking, when was the last time that this house was clean and these sheets were washed? We knew that because it was close to the Brazos River, Freeport Beach, and Quintana Beach, that we would be able to bring in those vacationers who would keep us busy during the spring and summer months, but we would also be able to draw people in during the slower times of the year during peak fishing season. When we were house shopping, we would drive down to Freeport to get familiar with the area and then tour some of the homes, and then we would come home all excited and nerd out, y'all, by putting all of this data into AirDNA. And if you haven't heard about AirDNA, this is something that you need to know about, and I have linked it in the description, so be sure to check it out. So AirDNA allows you to buy a specific zip code, and you can run rental comps on other short-term rental properties in the area so that you can start to calculate things that are going to be important to your business, like your average daily rate and your occupancy rate. They also allow you to look at other Airbnb and VRBO properties in the area so that you can look at their listing pictures, see if any of them are superhost status, and see what amenities they're offering. So all of this is in one platform so that you can be competitive with the other short-term rental properties in the area. Once we had some of this data from AirDNA, we then took that data and put it into a spreadsheet that we found on BiggerPockets. I've also linked BiggerPockets in the description because they are another amazing website that you need to know about. But having this spreadsheet allowed us to clearly see a breakdown of all of the things that we needed to know, like the sales price, the earnest money, closing costs, and any additional expenses for each property. It also helped us see the projected profit that we can make after paying the mortgage, the utilities, and any other home services that we included, like lawn service and pest control services. We had it narrowed down to 3 properties, but ultimately decided to write an offer on a 1918 remodeled home in a very quiet community that was really close to a boat ramp and also a 10-minute drive to both Freeport Beach and Quintana Beach. The seller accepted our offer after a little bit of negotiation, and then we were officially under contract. We bought the home in June of 2022, and we spent 3 weeks and some very long nights trying to do some small projects and furnishing the home so that we could get it ready to put on Airbnb and VRBO. We had professional photography taken by Carol Media, and he did a wonderful job of showing off our beautiful home and also showing the proximity to the water. Once we got the pictures back, we created hosting accounts on Airbnb and VRBO and entered all of the listing information into both of those websites. From there, we published our listing, and within a few days, we had our first Airbnb guest, somebody who actually ended up booking with us for 6 months. And I'm not gonna lie to you, we had absolutely no idea what we were doing the first time we had tenants in our home, but we did know that our goal was to provide an excellent client experience and also give people a comfortable and clean place to stay. We learned a lot during that first booking, and honestly, we continue to learn a lot every single time we have tenants in our property. And this is a great segue to let you know that there are a lot of people out there who say that investment properties are passive income. I'm here to tell you that it is not all butterflies and rainbows. It is a lot of work. It's really not passive income unless you are spending a lot of money to have a property management company do everything for you. Ultimately, this is an investment, and it does take money and time to keep things maintained. But remember that it is an investment, so in turn, you're gaining equity and income every month. And even though it can be a lot of work, it is really one of the best decisions that we've ever made. And now that we know what we're doing, we actually have plans to own 2 to 3 more investment properties within the next 5 years. So that's the story of how my husband and I became real estate investors. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and feel like owning your own investment property is really not too far out of reach for you. If you like learning about this kind of stuff, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and become a member of my community. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified anytime I release a new video. And I absolutely love hearing from you in the comments. So don't be shy, drop a comment below, let me know what questions you have and what I can help you with. I really am an open book, and I love to collaborate and share my experience to help other people. Also, be sure to check out the description and the pinned comments below so that you can see the link to our short-term rental property, which we call the Retreat at Freeport, as well as other resources that I mentioned in this video, like BiggerPockets and AirDNA. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.